Well, hello, I'm Forrest Mahan, president of Aiken Technical College, and I am proud to introduce you to the inaugural edition of the Mahan Conversations. We're going to introduce this series of talking points with our special guests and when we are available to have them aboard. And today, my first guest is Lillian Brock, who is the incoming president of SGA. What does SGA stand for?
Student Government Association.
Well, very good. Now, as we start the beginning of the new academic year, this is the time that students can have the opportunity to get involved beyond just the classroom.
Absolutely.
We want people to be able to, succeed in what their career goals are, adapt to their programs, and be successful there. But we would also like to see opportunities for students to get engaged outside of the classroom. So tell me a little bit about your background. What brought you to Aiken Tech and what program are you in?
So I've been here at Aiken Tech for a year as of this semester. I am an accounting major of all things and never considered myself doing finance. I'm looking at going into financial analysis. So here at Aiken Tech, I'm taking all of my business classes and getting that kind of stuff out of the way. I come from a background of dogs, actually, kind of random, but I show and train dogs when I'm not here at school.
Well, very good. Now, what's your long-term plan? Where do you plan to go after you finish here at Aiken Technical
So
College?
I have been accepted into Purdue's early Excel program for their master's degree in accounting. So my next step after this is Purdue.
How long will you be here at Aiken Tech?
I have one more year, which is 2 more semesters.
And so this last year with Aiken Tech is going to be your year as president
Absolutely.
of SGA. Well, tell us a little bit about what SGA is.
So student government is involving students and getting them involved within the college and the community together. The goal of student government is to kind of bridge the gap between students, professors, the community, getting everybody involved, but running it like a government so that students are getting the leadership, the knowledge, the skills that when they go out into the real world, they'll already understand some of that stuff.
So as students are coming back on campus and getting re-engaged for the new academic year, what would be the best way for them to find out a little bit about what they could do to maybe serve on student government, or are there other organizations they might like to consider?
So there's a bunch of different groups here at Aiken Tech. The easiest way to do it would be your Aiken portal. It's going to have all your information. It's going to have your advisors, who to talk to, that kind of stuff. They do almost weekly announcements through there and how to get involved and what to do. Also check bulletin boards. It's a big thing around here is your bulletin boards.
Now, talk about the process you went through to become elected president of Aiken Tech's SGA.
So SGA was announced right at the beginning of summer, the end of the last term, and we went through 2 interview processes. We did, I can't tell you how many Google Doc forms I had to fill out for that, but we kind of went through almost a hiring process. If you've ever been through the hiring process, it was very similar. Interviews, that type of thing. They sent the information out to all the students on campus, and it was a vote for the students, and we ended up in a runoff election for the first time that's happened at Aiken Tech. And I have a wonderful vice president because of it.
And who is your vice president?
My vice president has not picked up her stuff yet, but her name is Miss Sprouse, and I'm super excited to work with her.
Now, will you have more than a vice president? Do you have a cabinet of sorts, or do you have advisors or student reps? How does that work?
So we haven't selected our council yet. We have our first meeting coming up at the end of this month, and our goal is to kind of take attendance, roll, figure out who wants to be a part of and what piece everybody wants to take a part of.
Well, what would you like to see accomplished this year? What is your vision for the students to maybe be able to enjoy in your tenure as president of SGA?
Absolutely. So my ideas of coming into student government include community engagement. When I came to Aiken Tech, I didn't realize we had all these groups and all these different clubs and these things to get involved in. And so my idea is to go out maybe to the high schools and let the students know that there's more to college than just reading books every day and getting the knowledge. There's groups, there's activities, there's things we can do, and that includes our community as well.
Can you give an example of one of the other groups that students may be able to join or be involved with?
Absolutely. So we have, they just started the movie club where students are involved in producing their own movies here on campus. We do have a religion group as well that does some studies, that type of stuff. And we also have Pi Theta Kappa, which is a honor society here on campus.
Now, actually, I was a member of Phi Theta Kappa as an advisor when I was at Orangeburg County Technical College, and that's an important opportunity. And you have to be invited to join that due to their academic performance, but also their leadership skills and qualities. So I guess my question is that as you are going through your last year with us and in your program, what do you expect to gain from being, how do you expect to grow as a leader in terms of being president of SGA?
Well, this is my first time being a president in a club. I've been a part of several. I've done secretary positions, things like that before, but I've never done the leadership part. So my hope is to learn the interviews, the public speaking, the making the connections and knowing who I need to know in my community in order to grow in my career.
Now, you are an example of a student, being a two-year college, people come and go relatively quickly, and you, in your first year, kind of got your feet on the ground, and here you are as you begin your second year, you're now president of SGA. What advice would you give to a new student coming on campus for their first year here? Remember, we've got the traditional 18-year-olds right out of high school. We also have a lot of adult learners who may be what we call non-traditional, who are furthering their education. So, having been successful in your first year, what advice would you give, or what would you have wanted to know when you started your first year last year?
I think the biggest thing I would have wanted to know was that there was more outside the classroom. It's just like high school. You have your sports, you have your academic clubs, that type of thing. When I came to college, I didn't think those things existed. I didn't know that there were groups I could be a part of. And now I'm a part of all different kinds of associations. I've met people in different degree programs. I think it's super important to get out in those clubs and engage with the other students in the same school and the same community. We all have similar goals.
Well, I think what we do now that we're coming back to post-COVID world, and for a long time we couldn't be together.
Yeah.
Now we're able to have people back on campus in larger numbers and also opportunities for more engagement. So I think that's a great opportunity that you've shared with us, because we often know that students who are engaged outside of the classroom are much more likely to be successful inside the classroom. And so although we're not a residential, we don't have dorms on campus, people do spend a great deal of their time here between classes, and we want to make sure that there are opportunities there. What else would you like maybe, not just a new student, but a returning student to know?
Well, as a returning student, even coming back from my summer, I took the summer off. I had a great time. I enjoyed life outside of school. But coming back to school, I think the most important thing is to just know what you want from school. Have an idea of where you want to go, and don't just kind of come at it with an open mind, but also have a sense of idea, like that I want to be an accounting student. I think if you have an idea of what you want from your academics, it makes your home life much easier and less stressful. Our tutoring opportunities and things like that are more catered to that type of thing versus, I come to school and I have absolutely no idea what I want to do. Well, it makes it a little harder for us to guide in the right way.
And for new and returning students, we have an excellent online orientation that you could watch online and video and get a sense of the layout of the college. It's always important to make sure you know first where your classrooms are, but also to know, as you mentioned, like for example, tutoring services.
Absolutely.
We have the Student Success Center, we have the Testing Center, we have the library, and so these are all learning resources. We also have a gym that has a full,
all kinds of stuff.
do you ever get to play basketball or anything like that?
I have been a part of a couple of games. I can't help it.
Okay, well that's great. That's good. It's also, we want to keep people athletic and keep people healthy. We have a walking track inside the gym, and we've also actually completely refurbed the gymnasium part where we have all of our weights. So there's a lot of opportunities there for students, not only to be mentally fit, but also physically fit. And in addition to, students sometimes may have some challenges. So what would be your recommendation for a student who may be having some challenges academically?
Reach out. The professors, the tutors, the advisors, they are so easy to talk to. They make life so much easier. Rather than just struggling through, ask for help.
And it's an important thing, we're a college, we're going to hopefully be around 2,300 students this fall. And that's not too large, not small, but it's not too large where you have students get lost. They're able to, make sure that they connect with their instructors, especially if they're in a technical program. You've got a specific program. You're going to be around a lot of the same students. So it's important that you engage with your cohort of students. But it's also important to engage, as you've demonstrated, outside of the classroom in opportunities such as student government.
Absolutely.
So now, how do you think, or what would be, when you move on to Purdue and the master's degree, how do you think Aiken Tech has helped prepare you for that?
Well, Aiken Tech has put me in a learning situation where I'm comfortable with my professors. I've really taken in the knowledge. I've really accepted the knowledge here at Aiken Tech. It's not a classroom of 200 students. There's 25 of us. We get the individual learning time. So I think the best thing that Aiken Tech has done for me is given me the power of academics. It is an amazing school, and I have enjoyed all of my classes so far.
Well, it's always good to hear that, and we appreciate it because we work a lot with marketing and communications to get the word out about the college, but sometimes it's that word of mouth from a student or someone who's had an experience at Aiken Tech that that's positive, we want to make sure we get out there. Of course, we just unveiled a year ago our new logo. We're uniquely powerful, and I think that you've helped demonstrate just exactly the uniqueness of the college. And because everybody's story is different, you're an accountant. We have people who are in health sciences, computer technology, they want to transfer to a four-year college, technical programs, nuclear fields. We just had over 100 apprentices graduate. So we're seeing a lot of opportunities for growth in the workforce, but also for people who want to then better themselves and also grow beyond just the academic world, but also into the more governmental world or leadership roles.
Absolutely.
How is being SGA president or becoming SGA president, how do you think this is going to help you with your leadership skills?
Well, I'm really excited. I've been a manager at my current job for a year now, so I'm hoping that this teaches me the skills that I need to connect with my team a little bit better, that I will understand kind of the diversity of everybody in my team and how I'm going to be able to help them in the real world every day.
If you could have one major achievement in this next year, what would that be?
Student engagement. I would love for our student government meetings to reach 25 to 30 students every month and keep that going.
Well, I think also too, it's important that you have support from the faculty and staff, but also the president of the college. So I'd be very honored to be able to speak to the SGA when they get there. And we always engage with students, especially towards the end of the year, where I get feedback from the students about how things have gone, where we can go and make improvements. Any recommended improvements that we could make, you could think of right off the top of your head?
Right off the top of my head, I can't think of anything particularly from the student point of view that I would prefer. Now we may come up with some discussions about your food trucks that you bring in.
Well, that's always a good discussion to have. We like to eat at Aiken Tech, and so we do want to have opportunities for that kind of engagement. And again, it's the fun stuff too. I think that we always try to make sure that we have some fun things going on, and that students get an opportunity. And also, I know we've done a lot of student support services. We're right around exam time. When that rolls around in December and again in late April, we're going to have, I think sometimes we've had dogs come out and the people can pet the dogs and had some stress relievers. So how, as SGA president, might you be able to help support student success efforts in that respect, working with that team?
Well, I'm excited to be a part of that team. I also am excited to bring in the teachers this year to that as well. What we noticed a little bit last year and coming in through my last semester was that the teachers weren't quite involved in that. You weren't seeing your professors outside of the classroom. You only saw them when you were in there getting your lectures every day. So our goal kind of this year is maybe to include the teachers in the student success as well, having them do other activities with us and things like that.
And I think that's a good opportunity because, again, as I mentioned earlier, for so long we weren't able to really engage, and it takes a little bit of time for people to start that re-engagement. I used to do walkabouts. I'd walk all over campus and pop in from time to time, but COVID pretty much stopped that, and I kind of fell out of the habit of it. So my goal is to start being a little bit more active on campus and just simply do walkabouts to engage with students, engage with faculty and staff, because when you have those more informal engagements, you can get a wealth of knowledge about things that could help improve the college or things that we're doing really well, the pats on the back, the attaboys, the attagirls. And so I think that's a great opportunity for faculty to then, re-engage. And what I would recommend you do is, work with academic affairs and maybe reach out to the faculty assembly and then see where there could be further synergies there.
Absolutely.
So now, anything else you'd like to share that maybe we haven't touched on?
I think the only thing I would like to touch on is, what advice do you have for me?
Well, I think that you've demonstrated that you have a pretty good grasp of what the responsibilities of the job are. And so when you're a leader, what I recommend you do is that you kind of set your goals and stay true to those goals and set your value points and stick to your values. Communicate, and a lot of times as leaders, it's far more important to listen sometimes than to speak, because when you listen, you're able to pick up on what may be some things that you feel you can help improve, and that's a wealth of knowledge. And so it's always a good idea to make sure you stay engaged and communicate, not just with the students, but make sure you're communicating with the student support staff, communicating with the faculty, and then providing those opportunities for the partnerships to build, because if you have a strong partnership in the classroom, you'll have strong partnerships outside of the classroom as well. So that would be my advice.
I appreciate it. It'll mean a lot.
Anything else you'd like to share?
I think that takes care of it.
Well, Lillian, thank you for being with us on the first episode of the Mahan Conversations. I think this is a good start to a new perspective. It's replacing what I used to call Mondays with Mahan. And this allows a little bit more in-depth conversations, and we're going to have guests throughout the year from various parts of the college and also probably members of the community that can help sort of provide an overview, not just to the students about what's going on, but this is actually something we want the community to be aware of. Because that way, as young people or adults are looking to think about furthering their education, if they see all the great stuff going on here at Aiken Tech, they're more than likely to attend. So, Lillian, thank you again for being with us. I wish you the best this year as president of SGA, and I wish you the best for everything that you do after your time here at Aiken Technical College, and I appreciate you making this a great first episode. And again, this has been the Mahan Conversations with Dr. Mahan. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you next month.